The court upheld an election petition filed by the NDC candidate in the 2024 election and ordered a rerun in 30 days. Addressing journalists in Parliament earlier in the day, the minority leader described the conduct of the courts as shameful and serving the interest of certain paymasters.
That their actions and inactions to serve the interests of whoever their paymaster is has the tendency of destroying our peaceful republic. We will not mince words. They can conspire to call us one by one for a so-called contempt of courts. We are criticizing their shameful conduct. We are not afraid. We are ready to be in Nsawam for their so-called contempt. The world will see their disgraceful conduct. We will not sit aloof and allow them to undermine the very rule of law that they are supposed to protect. How can a judge who calls himself a judge sit in court and misconduct himself in such a manner and expect the country to be quiet? Now here is where the matter becomes even more extraordinary. This order, an order with massive political, legal and democratic consequences, was pronounced without the court's full judgments, as I've stated supra. There were no written reasons, no factual findings, no legal analysis, just a naked directive issued into the public domain. And the whole constituency is now being told that there must be a rerun. I am a practicing lawyer of experience at the bar. I understand that courts occasionally deliver rulings with reasons to follow. But such a practice is the exception, not the rule. And it is never an acceptable approach when the stakes are this high.
Well, let's take you to Parliament now and bring in our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, who joins us with more. Kweku, the minority leader claims that the NDC knew about the judgment of the court even before it was read in open court. What was his basis? Kweku, do I have you? I want to find out from you because the minority leader claimed that the NDC knew about this judgment of the court even before it was read in open court. And I want to find out what basis did he have upon which he made this claim. Okay, let me take you back to Parliament. Kweku, I want to just first know the basis on which the minority leader claimed that the NDC knew about this judgment of the court even before it was read in open court. Okay, so Kweku Asante, has just walked into the studio from Parliament to give us details of that. Kweku, so I wanted to understand on what basis did the minority leader claim that the NDC knew about this judgment?
Well, he says some NDC officials, the executives, including the regional minister and other persons, all came in the court excited in a jubilant mode as though they already knew about the judgment that was going to be read by the court. And certain things that have happened around the court just gave them indication that the NDC may have been tipped off of the ruling of the court, and that is why they came to court in that manner. Listen to the minority leader again.
The sad part of it is that the NDC candidates and his supporters were aware of the judgment before the day, to the extent that on the day of the said judgment, the regional minister led a team of NDC party faithfuls into the courtroom, anticipating the expected results. The result that they were going to have judgment in their favor. The judge, who spent minutes, walked out of the courtroom claiming that his judgment will be ready on Friday. Meanwhile, in less than 24 hours, a court order was being served on Parliament and Honorable Nyindam. What kind of kangaroo judicial system we having now in Ghana?
Well, the MPP group said they will challenge this decision to the full extent possible.
Well, yes, we know that the Member of Parliament has now filed a notice of appeal. He's going to appeal this to the Court of Appeal.
And a stay of execution.
And a stay of execution application as well. All of that currently pending before the court. And they say they have a message to the people of Kpandai that as far as they are concerned, a Member of Parliament is still Matthew Nyindam, and they're going to fight this to the very end.
Let me first speak directly to the people of Kpandai. To the people of Kpandai, your Member of Parliament, Honorable Matthew Nyundam, remains the sitting Member of Parliament for the Kpandai constituency. He remains a full Member of Parliament. He remains a proud and active member of the Minority Caucus and the New Patriotic Party. No person, no institution, and certainly no flawed judicial order can suspend the mandate you freely and lawfully conferred upon him, unless and until the appellate process, properly invoked and fully exhausted, runs its lawful course. He will continue to serve you with dedication and dignity. Let me state this emphatically and without equivocation. The minority will lawfully resist any attempt, whether subtle or brazen, to bar him from representing his people. We will not permit democratic legitimacy to be overturned by judicial improvisation.
Kojo, let's talk about Matthew Nyundam himself, because he is the one at the center of affairs here. Now, he was in the House for the first time since this court's ruling. What happened when he came to court?
So while this news conference was happening, in fact, he was the one standing on the right hand of Alexander Afenyo-Markin in blue suit and red tie. And then he now comes into the chamber. He sits on his chair for about an hour or even 2 hours, because this press conference happened just after 1 or 2 thereabouts. No one comment, no one says anything. So the debate on the 2026 budget has been going on. In fact, they take a pause, they pass the VAT, they pass the VAT bill, and then they come back to continue. And then the minority have given their list to the Deputy Speaker to call in terms of who is debating next. They mention the name Matthew Nyundam. He gets up, trying to shuffle his papers, in fact, he starts speaking, Mr. Speaker, the 2026 budget, but Roxy Nelson, the Dafayakpo, is on his feet. And he says that...
You have none of that.
Yes. As far as they in the NDC are concerned, Matthew Nyundam is a stranger. He's not a member of parliament. He should not be in the chamber. And in his words, he's persona non grata.
As the honorable member for Kpandai was flawed, and therefore that election has been ordered to be rerun. Mr. Speaker, ipso facto, the Honorable Nyundam is no longer a member of this House. He's not. He's not. So hear me. So hear me, so that you can respond. So by oppression of law, is no longer a member of this House with a voice. That's number one. That's number one. That's number one. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Speaker, we have received the court orders and received proof of service. The orders of the court has been duly served on Parliament. It was served yesterday. Speaker, it will serve the minority to listen to me in silence. I have a copy of the proof of service of the orders of the Tamale High Court dated yesterday, 24th of November, and served on Parliament. If he's minded to appeal the decision of the High Court, it is right, and he has done so. But it is tried that mere filing of an appeal does not operate as a stay of execution of the court orders. Mr. Speaker, further, Mr. Speaker, I'm not raising these matters whimsically because precedents will guide us. Mr. Speaker, when the Honorable Jachi Kwesi was ordered by the court that he should go through re-election, rerun of his elections, members of this side at the time, mainly led by the now minority leader, spoke vociferously against the fact that the Honorable Jachi Kwesi cannot be entertained in this House. The issue was raised by Professor Kinsley Nyaku. He used to sit here.
So that is Dafiamokpo raising that particular issue, but the minority responded. They won't sit and take any of that.
Oh yes.
What did they say?
Alexander Afenyo-Markin said that the claims of the majority chief completely unfounded. Listen to him.
I want him to bring Hansard with proof that first deputy speaker or your good self, who was the second deputy speaker in the 8th Parliament, ordered Mr. Jachikwesin out of this chamber because there was a High Court order. I am aware that the matter came up, but no such order was directed, because I also remember that your side argued that he had filed a stay of execution pending the hearing of his appeal. They intimidate, insinuate, and act up. When they are getting the same taste, a bite of their actions, then they are crying. If they don't have the energy, they should be quiet and listen. After all, I've been here, this is my 4th term. Mr. Speaker, we are not here with manpower. We are not doing a macho business in this chamber. So, we'll be told that a certain 189 has the macho power to move Honorable Nyindam out. No.
Quite an interesting day in Parliament. Kweku, how did the Speaker rule on this matter?
Well, the Deputy Speaker, in fact, the second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Mwakwesiama, was in the chair, was scribbling his note as though he wanted to make a ruling on this matter. But then someone just walked briskly to the days of the Speaker and then started whispering something into his ears. Apparently, that was a message from the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin himself. And he says he wants to be in the chair when a determination is made on this matter. And so the Speaker, Alban Bagbin, has frozen any determination on this. And he says no progress should be made on this. And when he takes the seat, perhaps tomorrow, he will do something. Listen to the second Deputy Speaker on this.
Honourable members, I listened to the application by the Majority Chief Whip. I've also listened to the Minority Leader. The Speaker of Parliament has indicated to me that I should freeze this particular matter relating to Honourable Marty Nyindam. And therefore, I'm not going to make any comment on it. I pray that we hold on with the discussion or the commentary on the budget and move on to something else. So that is my discussion. So Mr. Speaker will take on this matter when he takes the seat.
Well, this is still top story brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energy's whole insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep, and also by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. We've been joined on the line by Matthew Nyindam, who is MP for the Kpandai constituency, joining us on the telephone lines now for us to have a discussion with him. But let me bring in Tanko Rashid Computer, who is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. Tanko, I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, the minorities say that because he's filed a stay of execution and the fact that he's appealed against this, he must be allowed to stay in the House. But your side say they won't allow this.
Well, let me say good evening to you and your cherished listeners, and our former MP for Kpandai, Martin Nyindam. In fact, he's no more an MP until his appeal is properly done and processed and heard. He is not. And so we stand by majority in Parliament to make sure that they don't allow him to participate in any process in the House. The fact that you have given notice of appeal doesn't mean that you have actually been granted that leave. They have done that severally on us, and we have seen it. So the majority is right in Parliament by saying that he should not participate in any parliamentary proceedings.
Okay, I'll bring you in, but let me go to Matthew Nyindam himself, MP for Kpandai constituency. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, do I have you, sir?
Hello?
Hello, Matthew Nyindam. I'm grateful that you could join us to speak on this matter. The court says the election that elected you to be member of Parliament for the people of Kpandai has been annulled. It means that the election in itself did not even happen. Why are you still holding yourself out as the MP?
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. I think that just like you have said, we've gone to court, a pronouncement was made. We have taken further step. Why do we call stay? I am not a lawyer. My lawyers have spoken to me. I have on record, although the chief whip who raised this matter on the floor, he's on record, and I have his voice, where he has repeated exactly the same thing my lawyers have told me, that in event that a ruling is given and you appeal and you file a stay of execution, it remains as it is until otherwise. You still do your work as a member of parliament. And the Fiamakpo, as a lawyer, has said this severally. I don't know why today he has decided to go whichever way he went. But like I told you, I am a very, very law-abiding citizen. I lost election in 8th Parliament. Did you see me in 8th Parliament? Did you see me performing any duty? Did you see me carry myself as a member of Parliament? No. I have the mandate of the people. They voted overwhelmingly for me. And I've come to Parliament. I will respect the court decision anytime. I will be the last person to disrespect the courts, in as much as I disagree with the ruling that has come. I'm happy, although I have not debated, and my people wanted to actually see me that I want to contribute or comment on the budgets and let them know my take on the budget. He came to interrupt it. The speaker himself was not there. The right honorable speaker himself was not there. He's called for those issues to be halted, which has been halted. And we're looking for the speaker to come in. But the lawyers have advised me that, look, they have filed stay. They've given me copies of rules of proceedings and other laws that when you file stay, what happens? I've read about them. The interpretation does not lie in my hands.
Okay.
But let's wait and see what the speaker will say. And if you go, I'm sure very soon there will be videos that will pop up where the Fiamakpo himself was defending this issue. And let it be told that, look, for him to say that the majority by then prevented Honorable Jachukwusin from entering the floor and here and there, that issue is not true. Facts don't back it. He carried himself, he performed his responsibility as a member of parliament until the case finally was determined. So I think that I still remain a member of parliament. What has happened on the floor today, it is Dafiamakpo's view, which he aired on the floor. The same way the minority leader also brought his view, he also aired it on the floor of parliament. And then the ruling came that Speaker wanted himself to talk about it. Let's wait and see what happens. I am a very law-abiding MP. I will never be lawless. I will never be lawless.
So Mr. Yindam, will you be in parliament tomorrow?
Oh, why not? I will still be in parliament. If you want to come tomorrow, you will see me. If you want to be, you know you are my friend, you can come around.
Despite the fact that the majority say that they will work it out.
The majority is not the law. Is the majority the law? The Fiamakpo is not the law. Is it the law?
Hold on for me. Let me bring in Rashid Tanko Computer. Rashid, I mean, the member of parliament has filed a stay of execution. He's appealed this particular matter. Why do you still think that despite the process he's begun, he should still be denied his response or his duty to represent his people?
My brother, Honorable Martin Yindam is a former MP as we speak now. Look, he was perpetrating illegality by entering into the chamber of the House. That was an illegality. He is an affront to the laws of this country. The judiciary have taken a decision on this. In fact, they are the interpreters of our laws. They have taken a decision on this, and he's there violating the decision of the judiciary. In fact, the majority should prevent him. Nobody should allow him to enter into the chamber tomorrow. That's look, it's a persona non grata. Until otherwise determined by the competent court of jurisdiction, which of course they have to go back to the court, the High Court, if they want to vary the decision. Proper stay of execution, it will be heard on the 17th. It has not been heard.
So
that matter has not been heard yet.
So is it your plan to put your side on the lookout to prevent Matthew Yindam from entering the House?
No. We have to make sure that he doesn't enter the House because he's not a member of parliament. We have to protect the laws of this country. As citizens, we must make sure that the laws work. We shouldn't allow people to take the law into their own hands. And that is what they are doing. This is what they are doing. What
tomorrow,
he's doing is an illegality.
So tomorrow, your side will prevent him from entering. Is that what you're saying?
He's not a member of parliament. We will use all lawful means. In fact, we are not going to use violence. Nobody. The NDC is the most lawful political party. We will not use violence means to stop him. We will use lawful means to prevent him from entering the chamber of parliament. He's not a member of parliament. The sanctity of parliament must be protected.
Okay.
Walk into the chamber and we're going to sit down there and want to transact business. Am I a member of parliament?
You won't wait for the speaker to make pronouncement before you act.
The law is the law. You should wait. If the speaker makes a ruling and think that we should wait until he should continue to make participate in parliamentary proceedings until such that his motion that he has filed for stay of execution is heard and upheld, then he can continue. But now it has not been heard.
So if the speaker rules that he must be allowed to stay in the house, will the NDC respect the decision?
Why wouldn't we respect the decision of the speaker? We will respect it, and we will respect the decision. How we respected the decision of the court. We've gone to court severally. We lost. We respected the decision of the court. When they did that to Judge Kwesi, Asinov, didn't we respect it? Okay. They put an injunction of the man and stopped him from coming to parliament.
Okay, I'm grateful to you, but still stay with me. Let me bring in Matthew Indam again. Mr. Indam, so, I mean, having filed your appeal against that judgment and the stay of execution, when a court has not granted you those applications or those permissions, why are you still of the view that you can still carry yourself out as a member of parliament?
You know, for avoidance of doubt, just like my Tonko said, I don't want to debate Tanko or say anything about Tanko because, one, he's not a member of parliament. So he may also just be saying his view just like he has said. He's not also a lawyer. This is what the Fiamakbo said, okay, in a similar situation. He said, in the matter of High Court declaring a parliamentary election void, when the affected MP files a stay of execution pending the determination of the appeal, the decision of the High Court always stays and the MP continues to be an MP. The Fiamakbo, this is June 2021. That is what he said. And Judge Kwesi continued. He's the same Dafiamapo.
But Honorable, Dafiamapo's viewpoint remains his viewpoint, and the position of the law will remain the position of the law.
You are right. In this case, he's the lead. He even started the matter. And this is his position in June 2021. I just read to you. Okay? Like I said, it's only the speaker who is the head and has the authority when it comes to some of these matters. And he has indicated that issue will be left until he comes. That is it. So I don't want to be running myself here up and down. In any case, I am not a lawyer.
Okay.
And like I told you, 2020, when I lost the election, 4 years, I've never been to parliament. I don't come there. I have been called to serve, and I'm serving. If today's speaker comes and he says this is what he thinks, I respect him. We are not a law-abiding citizens. I still hold myself as the MP for Kpandai, and that is what the law or my lawyers have told me. And even I take inspiration from Dafiamakbo's own words. June 2021. I'm inspired by his words.
Okay.
So let's see what God does.
If the speaker rules that you should vacate your seat, will you respect that?
Why not? Why not? He's the Speaker of Parliament. And when it comes to the interpretation of the standing orders and the Constitution on the floor of Parliament, it is the Speaker who presides. And if you want, the Speaker gives a ruling and you want to debate it, there is a way you can come. You can't just get up and say, I disagree with you. You have to come with a substantive motion. So in this case, if Speaker comes and he interprets it and says that this is what should happen, what will I do? I don't have anything. My lawyers are in court. Let's wait and see what will happen. But eventually, like I told you, we are a minority and we respect the law. I respect the law myself. And as MP, as I say today, I remain the MP. That's what I know.
Matthew Ndam, I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. He is the MP for Kpandai constituency. We also spoke to Tanko Rashid Computer, Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC. Let's now take you to the Kpandai constituency now. Well, so this happened in the constituency today as members of the MPP demonstrated against this particular decision. We've been joined by the constituency youth organizer of Kpandai, Joseph Lado. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. But the court has taken a decision. If you disagree, you have to head to court. Why demonstrate? Hello, Joseph.
Hello.
I'm asking that why demonstrate when the court has taken a decision, and if you disagree, you have to head back to court.
Okay. Let me use this opportunity to greet all your listeners, and again say hi to the people of Kpandai. Yes, point of correction. We have never demonstrated. It was a press conference we organized to register our displeasure. And after the press conference, we had a peaceful walk to just stretch ourselves and came back to our converging point.
Okay.
We never demonstrated.
Okay. So
that is it.
Why a press conference when you can rather resort to court or prepare your members to be part of the a possible election if the court still holds the view that that particular election is still annulled?
Okay. Thank you. The press conference was very necessary because not everybody in Kpandai here who gave his mandate to Honorable Matthew to go and serve in Parliament will get opportunity to get to the courtroom to hear what is happening there. And there was a need for us to brief them what the court has said. There was a need for us to brief them so that we'll all be on the same page. But I believe this press conference came after the ruling came. And we owe them a duty, just as they have given us their mandate and have given their mandate to Honorable Matthew to go and represent us. We owe them a duty to report back to them the findings and the ruling that the court has given to us. So the press conference was very necessary.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful that the constituency youth organizer of Kpandai, Joseph Lado, for the MPP. This has been Top Story. Up next is Newsnight.
In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, former MIF board member takes on current management of the Mineral Income Investment Fund over its refusal to provide full disclosure on raft of documents, including financial statements on its operations in 2024.
Altogether.
We have the latest, including how MIF lost over 700 million cedis in gold trade deal with Gold Ridge Refinery Limited. Also tonight, standoff between lawyer Martin Kpebu and Office of the Special Prosecutor. As it emerges, Mr. Kpebu refused to answer questions when he appeared before the office over his allegations that the Special Prosecutor is corrupt. We have details as Mr. Kpebu declares he will only speak to the OSP's board.
But the only problem right now is that they are choosing to use subordinates, people who cannot investigate Kisi Jabin. How can you tell the underling to investigate his boss? That's why Mr. JCU. Can you investigate Mr. Kwesi Chum?
Also tonight, Bank of Ghana signals an era of cheaper borrowing with massive 350 basis point cut to its policy rate, bringing it down to 18%, the biggest reduction since Ghana's debt default.
The committee, by majority decision, voted to lower the monetary policy rate further by 350 basis points to 18.0%.
We tell you what that means for your pocket. Also tonight, the impact of illegal mining has opened the door to ruthless exploitation in the central region, where a gallon of borehole water now goes as high as 5 Ghana cedis.
Yeah, Kadawa, you give back 5 cedis. But or your customer now pronounce them, they will to me and Mensah 10 cedis. Let us what consider no.
Only tell boy for no, you say, yetu, go
More in our continuing series, Dear Mahama, #Stop Galamsey.
In business, we'll be telling you what influenced the Bank of Ghana's decision to cut the policy rate to 18%.
In sports,
Asante Kotoko suffer shock defeat away at Basake Holy Stars in the Ghana Premier League.
Plus your views and comments all here on the news night 05511119997. Details after this.
Titi, abeg, fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecel, with the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, if you get your own data and call packages, falla! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want town. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, I sleep.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Ghana must grow.
KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Oh, wow. KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, cause hope days.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program, because every step pays. Ejuma Wokrom, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
In December 2023, the biggest play in the history of African theatre made its debut.
Before Ogun, the God of Iron, I stand on oath.
You saw it.
We sent you all the way to Ileife to bring us greetings from Ifa.
By popular demand and in honor of Maoli Semevo, Image Bureau, in partnership with April Communications and the National Theatre, presents The Gods Are Not to Blame. This December 17th, 7 p.m., 18th, 7 p.m., and 19th, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the National Theatre. Visit www.imagebureaugh.com or dial *714*46# for your tickets. Single 250 cedis, double 400 cedis. Supported by New Plant Car Rentals, Ghana Tourism Authority, Balakwa. Sponsors: Stambic Bank, Joy FM, Hits FM, Joy Prime TV, and proudly brought to you by MTN.
No matter where we are, Africa always calls us home. And here in Ghana, the call is clear: to power growth and create lasting impact. At Stanbic Corporate and Investment Banking, we are creating giants and connecting businesses. From financing bold energy projects to enabling cleaner, reliable power for industries, we are fueling Ghana's transformation. With our support, Mensah Energy is delivering sustainable energy that powers Goldfields operations, helping them move closer to cleaner, greener mining. This is a story of how we bring businesses together, create jobs, empower communities, and invest in the next generation. Stanbic Bank, delivering sustainable growth, creating impact. To learn more, visit stanbicbank.com.gh.
And you're live here on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the former board member of the Mineral Income Investment Fund, Kojo, is fighting back, demanding the current management provide full disclosure on the raft of reports, including its 2024 financial and audited accounts. Now, according to him, MIF management has refused his right to information request, citing breach of transparency obligations under the Minerals Income Investment Fund Act. Now, his requests come on the back of a Joy News series on the MIF 2024 audit report, detailing how the board and senior management of the fund spent over 11 million cedis on foreign travels in 2024 without government approval. He argues that his travels as former board member was approved. Head of Research, Joy News, Isaac Kofi J, joins me in the studio with more on this. We have cited a letter approving Kojo's travel. Give us more.
Well, so in the general and administrative responses or expenses, MIF spent a total of nearly 13 million cedis on foreign travels. And according to what we are learning so far, transport cost alone was over 9.2 million Ghana cedis. That's about 70.8%, while hotel and restaurant over 3.6 million cedis. It's also important to note that out of the figure that the Auditor General actually flagged, 11 million cedis was actually spent without approval on foreign travels.
Now, this is important to disaggregate. So the board spent a total of 13 million cedis on foreign travels in a year. However, 11 million of that amount was done without prior authorization.
Without prior approval.
And that was the period when the government had said very clearly you cannot travel without getting such approval.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then so today, as we've seen some of the board members come forward with additional information to say, well, we may be part of the just over 2 million or so, or just over 1 million cedis that was spent on traveling with approval. And we've seen Kojo's letter.
Well, so in that letter, that RTR request that Kojo is actually demanding is requesting for 4 important details. The first one is the chronology of facts. The second is the statutory provisions involved in this whole deal or this whole, circumstance, and the legal argument as well as the reliefs being sought. He also, in that letter, is compelling me to disclose the requested information and also impose an administrative penalty under the Section 71 of the Act 989 for the RTI law, from the RTI for the willful non-compliance to that request that he placed to MIF. And in fact, he also attaches 4 or 5 important documents which he believes that is important as far as this RTI request is concerned. Copies of the RTI request he himself sent to MIF, and a letter from MIF dated 15th October 2025. The applicant's response dated 20th October 2025. And internal review applications dated 14th and 30th of October 2025. So this is what he's requesting for under the RTI request that he has placed.
So fundamentally, this audit report that we have secured, the board members don't have a copy. They don't have a copy, and he, from what you're indicating, had already written to MIFS under RTI saying, give me a copy, and he's been turned down. This is what he's currently challenging with the commission now, raising questions about breach of his right. Now, on the other subject of whether or not he's one of those who travel without authorization, again, he's produced a raft of documents, including one dated 25th of September 2024, where it comes with the heading Minexpo International 2024, in which the then Chief of Staff writes to him, says, approval is hereby given for you as a board member of the Minerals Income Investment Fund to travel to Las Vegas, Nevada, or USA to attend the Minexpo International 2024 forum from 24th to 26th September as requested in your letter dated 20th September 2024,
and this that indicating signed, right? So signed by
to him
Firma Osei
Yes,
Opare.
to him, addressed to him as a legal counsel to the president, office of the president, Jubilee House. Just clarifying that point on this particular subject. So some of the board members already taking on MIF for denying them access to this particular report. We have a copy, and it details some very interesting revelations, including, as we are now learning, this confidential audit by the Ghana Audit Service revealing how the failure of the Minerals Income Investment Funds Management to monitor its gold trade deal with Gold Ridge Refinery Limited cost the state and the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors to lose over 700 million cedis. The Office of the Special Prosecutor last month detained the CEO of Gold Ridge, Nana Yaudu, do you know him popularly as Dr. Sledge, after he failed to meet bail conditions. He's under investigations for suspected corruption and corruption-related offences linked to MIF, particularly in the management of its gold trade program. Now, Joy News' Kwete Nati has been following the investigations and has more in the following report.
According to an audit of the Minerals Income Investment Fund's annual report and financial statements for 2024 by the Ghana Audit Service, the state and the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors incurred gold trade losses amounting to 708,696,569 Ghana cedis. These losses were settled by MIIF on behalf of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors and Fidelity Bank. The confidential audit report in the possession of Joy News revealed that MIIF entered into a 5-year gold trade agreement worth $30 million with Gold Ridge Refinery Limited, GRL. Under the deal, MIIF was expected to earn 15% annual interest. The report further noted that MIIF entered into a parallel agreement with the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, CBOD. Under this agreement, MIIF was to advance cedis to Gold Ridge to purchase gold, while Gold Ridge was to provide the chamber with US dollars to buy petroleum products for the Ghanaian market. However, after receiving the cedis, Gold Ridge failed to deliver the promised dollars. Goldbridge attributed the shortfall to foreign exchange losses, but the audit found that the problem resulted from MIIF management's failure to monitor and enforce the contract. The report stated, and I quote, the management's failure to enforce Clause 8 of its agreement with Gold Ridge, which required the parties to jointly appoint an independent auditor within 14 days of the agreement's execution date to audit the transaction quarterly, and their inability to meticulously monitor, review, and analyze the trade process caused the irregularity. The silence of the Investment Advisory Committee regarding this significant investment decision further contributed to this anomaly, unquote. The former MIIF CEO, Edward Cranton, explained that the Bank of Ghana's insistence on using Bloomberg mid-rates for gold trading caused the foreign exchange losses. To plug the financial gap, Mr. Cranton secured Finance Ministry approval for $40 million, out of which $26.4 million went to the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors to cover part of its losses. The audit further noted that the circumstances surrounding Gold Ridge's losses to Fidelity Bank and the Chamber suggest that MIIF risks losing its $30 million investment and an accrued interest of $2.4 million. When Joy News contacted Fidelity Bank, the institution confirmed that it had advanced funds to MIIF in cedis with the understanding that MIIF would settle the equivalent in foreign exchange within a stipulated period. The bank stated that although MIIF initially failed to meet the deadline, the outstanding amounts were fully settled by December last year. It recommended that MIIF conducted a stress test on the gold trade agreement with Gold Ridge to determine the current position of the fund's trade capital and accrued interest of $32,489,315.07, or discontinue the program entirely and recover its funds. However, auditors stated that they found no evidence of recovery or remediation efforts as claimed. The Ghana Audit Service has therefore directed MIIF to recover the entire $40.3 million from Gold Ridge. Should recovery fail, the report recommends that former MIIF board chair Professor Douglas Boatin, former Deputy Finance Minister Alex Ampabin, former MIIF CEO Edward Crampton, and MIIF Chief Investment Officer Bubune Sopo be held accountable. When Joy News contacted the individuals cited in the report, they declined to comment, citing the ongoing investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. For Joy News, this is Kweti Nate reporting.
Well, there is a new management in place following the elections, and they have declined comment on this particular report. But 3 weeks ago, speaking at the Public Accounts Committee on the 2023 Auditor General's report, acting MIF CEO Justina Nelson said the fund has cancelled all gold trading agreements.
With the coming of the gold board, we needed to be in our mandates, which was given to us by our mother body. So we now have to look at the royalties coming in, ensure that those royalties are given to the state or collected with Bincom and GRA. So that is exactly what is being done. We decided that those aggregators will be ceded off to Gold Board because they are the mother body for them to be able to get the gold coming in and all. And so that has been done. We've written to the aggregators, those contracts that were given to them, where we had some negotiations with them to be able to transition them nicely to gold board. So we are still in the transition stage, but we stopped the gold trade altogether.
Patrick Stevenson is a country manager at the Natural Resource Governance Institute. Joins us on Zoom right now. Patrick, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Very controversial subject. A lot of investigations currently happening into the gold trading scandal at MIF. You've just heard, as detailed by Justina Nelson, the acting CEO, last 3 weeks before PAC, that they have cancelled it. Is that a move that should be made permanent for now?
I mean, there are those that support, that idea that, perhaps that's the way to go. But I think this question about MIF, and all the challenges that are coming up, I think fundamentally raises, governance questions, right? And the extent to which, controls that hitherto were put on the law were, breached significantly, right? And so the excuse of whether or not, we should wipe the institution off the books, I think for me, it's neither here nor there. It's the governance questions that are breached. If you look at the MIF law carefully, and like most of our public sector institutions, and here, everyone's like, draw your attention to, section 38 of Act, 9978. It does indicate that, just like any of our public institutions operating in the extractive sector, there's a requirement for, the preparation of annual reports. And for me, the buck stops, with the finance minister, which was that, the report has to be submitted to the finance minister. He has, by law, a mandate to submit that to Parliament for proper scrutiny. Now, how has all of this happened and somehow, we never got to the bottom of it? And so I think that if you think of that carefully, perhaps the school of thought that says, we treated, the managers of the fund treated it as some kind of a slush fund, I think tends to lay a bit of credence to the argument that perhaps maybe we should find better use of our resources. But I think...
And does the cancellation cure the problem?
So again, so there's two ways to look at this, really, because I don't think we have outrightly cancelled, the existence of the institution from the books, right?
What if cancelled is the gold trading part of the institution, which used to be the norm under the previous administration?
Well, so yes, but that doesn't solve the problem, right? Because again, the gold trading is just one of the programs. If you look at the other report carefully, I think there were significant issues that were equally discussed in terms of, projects that MIF has invested in, even some of the, assets and companies that they had invested in, and the extent to which, they're getting proper return for value. I think for us in the extractive sector, the questions that we have been asking all through have been, questions around investment guidelines and the extent to which, MIF itself was selecting projects and were making investments in these projects, and whether that was happening from a transparent standpoint. And so suspending the program is one thing, but I think the fundamental questions, around governance of MIF and the optimization and the utilization of our mining revenues, I think is a completely different thing. As we speak today, the amendment to the law we saw in March has almost, withdrawn all the revenues that go to them into a designated fund that is under the control of the finance minister, purposely to be used for investment in infrastructure. They still retain some 2%, ostensibly to support administrative activities. You equally see a case where they are still managing assets under the portfolio. So again, those questions around the quality of investments that they have made over the past, I think, don't go away, and perhaps leaves a lot more, questions than answers on the table. And for us, I think those governance questions are particularly important rather than just, the mere suspension of the program, because that does nothing. From the recommendations we have seen in the report, simply cancelling the program is not enough.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Patrick Stevenson is the country manager at the Natural Resource Governance Institute. So live your news tonight on Joy 99.7 FM. On this particular subject, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been investigating it too and has detained one of the protagonists, as has been alleged. Kofi, what do we know?
So the OSP says that as part of ongoing investigations, the Office of the Special Prosecutor today conducted searches at the Trasaco residence.
Not today, as in
20
today. This
October,
is put it in context.
2025. So last month, that was when the release came out. It says today conducted searches at Trasaco residence of Nana Yaudodu, also known as Dr. Sledge, at the East Legon office of Goldrich, Company Limited. The searches were carried out under warrant issued by the High Court in Accra. Nana Yaudodu is under investigation for suspected corruption and corruption-related offences linked to the Minerals Income Investment Fund (MIF) gold trade program, which allegedly caused a loss of $94 million to the state. The OSP's asset recovery and management team seized several items, including luxury vehicles, jewelry, weapons, and documents relating to landed properties. And this again was published on the 29th of October 2020.
So that's the last update we have on that. Thank you very much, Kofi. I will stay with the OSP a while longer because the standoff between lawyer Martin Kpandai and the Office of the Special Prosecutor has deepened. Tonight it has emerged that Mr. Kpandai refused to answer questions when he appeared before the office over his allegations that the Special Prosecutor himself is corrupt. Kenneth JC is in the studio with me because we had an update from the OSP today on what indeed transpired before the office when Martin Kpandai appeared. What did the OSP say?
Right, so the OSP made this through its director at the Communication Division, Sami Dakon. He wrote a lengthy post on Facebook. Parts of it, he said that Mr. Kpandai was contacted on Thursday, the 20th of November, along with one of his lawyers, inviting him to appear on Friday, the 21st of November. He answered the call on Thursday, stating he was at a program and will call back, but he did not. A follow-up message, according to Sami Dakon, was sent directing him to appear on Friday. He again did not respond. Now, the OSP team called him multiple times on Friday regarding the scheduled appearance during the Q&A session on X Spaces on Sunday at 7 p.m. He said that in response to a question about his absence at 2 p.m. on Friday, that he had been called 15 times between Thursday and Friday up to that point. So another invitation was given to him on Tuesday, which he honored. And according to Sami Dakon, when he appeared before the team, questions focused on his specific allegations of corruption. He stated he would not answer, explaining he was still preparing his materials and preferred to present them to the OSP board. As the questioning continued, Sami Dakon says he became agitated, insisting he would not respond, and the session was stopped. He was discharged and informed he will be invited again at a later date. So these are excerpts of the post that Sami Dakon made on Facebook.
You spoke to Martin Kpandai on Pulse. What did he say to the information that's shared by the OSP, Sami Dakon?
Martin Kpandai said essentially when he went to the OSP, he was interviewed by subordinates of the SP, the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ejabin, and he says that the subordinates were going to report to the SP, and that he find quite worrying, and the only person or the only group of people that he's willing to speak to is the OSP board.
Chose to say that, I'll keep it confidential. We don't need to embarrass the Special Prosecutor, but he's chosen to come and embarrass himself. Carlos Kaloni, I have just one simple statement to make, what breaks it down. The officers we met yesterday are subordinates to Kisi Ejabin. They are subordinates. Subordinates. We are all citizens. Why not? I'm not being investigated. I've made allegations of corruption. So they needed to see if they can get further details to go on. But the only problem right now is that they are choosing to use subordinates, people who cannot investigate Kisi Ejabin. How can you tell the underling to investigate his boss? That's why Mr. JCU. Can you investigate Mr. Kwesi Chum? Can you investigate Mr. Kenan Ansa in multimedia? Who born dog? Can you do that? You can't. It's not possible. So you see, simple principles of law. Simple principles of law they can't handle. Is it any wonder that they allowed the Furiata to run? Is it any wonder that they are filing charges on causing financial loss, money laundering, which don't belong to them? Because just about 2 years ago, Kisi Ejabin told us that money laundering is not part of the OSP functions, OSP mandate. Because if you go to section 78, you see the offenses that the OSP can investigate and charge. Right. So he returned Sisi Adapa's money to him, etc. Now 2 years on, you say you are doing money laundering. When you don't have a court decision, you see, when you are doing governance, you carry the whole society along, whole of society approach or whole of government approach. So between the Sisi Adapa time and now, Mr. JC, when Sami Daku comes, ask him, did they go to court and the court gave interpretation that now they can do money laundering and causing financial loss? If that is so, what you do is that, Mr. JC, this is the point. The way Ghana our system works, if a case goes to court, not all the decisions get put out in public. So if there's a court decision that says now they can do so, what the special prosecutor should have done is that you hold a press conference and then you prep citizens that, oh, I've gone to court and I have a decision that says money laundering is mine, causing financial loss is also mine, though they are not in my act. Right. So you prep the citizens. You don't go and file charges straight, because the moment you do what they've done now, it means that you create suspicion that you just want to go to court, then the court will free the accused. Right. So please ask him, how did their mandate change? Is it a court decision? If it's not a court decision, we don't want such a gamble. What they have to do is that they have to go to court independently without using any accused person as a guinea pig.
I want to bring in Justice Abdullah, is a private legal practitioner, joins us on Zoom right now. And Justice, it is Martin Kpebu's right not to answer any question when he appeared before the OSP investigators yesterday. Is that
Indeed, that is correct. That nobody can compel you to respond to anything, particularly when the issues involve a possible prosecution of a person. So it's a fundamental right in criminal law that you are not allowed to self-incriminate, and you are allowed your right whether to respond or not to respond to any question posed to you, whether you have a lawyer present or not. It is your right to reserve the decision to speak or not to speak.
What about his reasoning? That the reason why he decided to do that is because OSP was using his subordinates, and that he doesn't see how the subordinates will investigate their boss, and that he will only talk to the board of the OSP itself.
Well, so he doesn't need to have a reason to talk or not to talk, but he doesn't at the same time, he doesn't have a right to determine who he speaks to. No one has a right to determine when being investigated that you would like to talk to a particular person or the other. It is not a bargaining where you can determine whether you want to speak to a person because maybe you are more comfortable with that person, or maybe because you think you as the person you're talking to is not fit, by your own judgment, whether he has a right to question you or not. So long as the person is representing the institution investigating you, his right.
More in our continuing series, Dear Mahama, #Stop Galamsey, right up to George. And George has a big news announced by the central bank today, signaling possibly an era of cheaper borrowing, if indeed the banks will follow suit.
Well, they do even 18%, depending on where you're coming from and where you stand. Some would argue that is still high. The banks would then have to look at this and what they call the Ghana reference rate and then set that rate. So it doesn't automatically mean that you're also going to see a reduction in the cost of lending by that margin of that 350 basis point. But Evans definitely is going to impact on the cost of borrowing, Evans. In another story, favorable economic outlook and slowing inflation forces Bank of Ghana to cut the policy rate by some significant margin. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana is denying financing the operations of the gold board. A reduction in VAT to 20% and other tax reliefs to businesses set to take off from January 1. After Parliament today passed the revised tax bills. We'll get you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Cintas tanks, and Pepsodent, Herbal, and Charcoal.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappe. Et mappe. French idiot. This is a midi croissant.
Meet Aja. She makes sobolo in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French kakra to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa.
Watashi no namae. Boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watashi. What? If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Centerpoint Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
At Star Oil, we believe fuel is not just a commodity, it is a lifeline. Every cedi saved at the pump is a cedi that helps a mother send her child to school, a farmer transports food to the market, or a young entrepreneur deliver their first order. Our mission is to make fuel more accessible by offering consistently competitive prices, helping ease the financial burden on Ghanaian households. In a country where transportation costs can consume nearly a third of household income, this is not just business. It's a social responsibility. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
For many years, we've been solving Ghana's water storage problems with quality tanks. Syntex tank. You know, it is strong, it's tough, and reliable. And now, we're in to solve the #1 problem when it comes to water carriage: our pipes. With the state-of-the-art machinery, Syntex is providing very strong, tough, reliable, high quality, and durable pipes at a reasonable price. This is Syntex Pipes. With Syntex Pipes, water flows wow. I mean, ta. It dey carry water, no wahala.
With Syntex pipe, our water problems are solved.
Syntex, are you strong? Are you tough?
Brushing gets more fun with your kids with the new Pepsodent Kids toothpaste. Give your smiles protection that lasts. Grab yours today from a store near you. This advert is FDA approved.
The winning season is back, but this time I am collecting the wins like Jollof at a wedding. The luckiest season 3 is here. Your chance to flip your luck or maybe your bank accounts too.
2 easy ways to join. Dial *712#. Hit 1 to buy for you or 2 to gift a friend. Feeling lucky? Pick 1 for a random number or hit 2 to choose your own. Pay with mobile money. Done. You're in.
Or go to theluckiestafrica.com, click community tickets, choose your number, or let the system do so for you. You can buy a ticket for your boo or your favorite barber. Pay with Momo or card if you're abroad.
1 ticket could turn your 1 Ghana cedi into 500 times more. And the whole community could win 10 times over.
Dial *712# or log on.
Let's get lucky together because luck is everywhere.
Every mosquito started run away.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on News 9. A favorable economic outlook and inflation staying within the single-digit range forced the Bank of Ghana to cut the policy rate by some significant margin. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank cut the rate by 3% to 18%. Details in the following report.
Answering questions from journalists at the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana, the governor went ahead to justify their decision to cut the policy rate.
We are following the outlook for inflation. We believe that the 350 basis points is in line with our program and also consistent with the disinflation path. But that said, it's about assessing the risks on the upside to inflation.
He, however, rejected argument the policy rate could have gone down further than the 350 basis point cut.
We are following the outlook for inflation. We believe that the 350 basis points is in line with our program and also consistent with the disinflation path.
So what is the Bank of Ghana doing to ensure that we are not affected badly when it comes to any commodity price shocks versus the governor's assurance?
Reserve accumulation, reserve build-up, right? FX intermediation, very little by way of, even if we have to stem excessive volatility, that's the approach.
Dr. Esiam has also been giving us some updates over plans to hedge the price of Ghana's gold purchase and export.
Yes, we mentioned the hedging program some time ago as one of the ways to stem the vulnerabilities as we see them. However, the approach for now is to rebalance our portfolios, and that is what we are actively doing now.
The governor also says the central bank will not go with the strategy of one size fits all when it comes to recapitalization of commercial banks.
Well, nothing stops banks from lending to LBC so long as it's within, the regulatory thresholds, the single obligor limits and others. Banks are free to do so. Rest assured that banks are free to lend to LBCs in any way they want to lend, so long as it is within the SOL limits.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana assured that it stands ready to step in and cut policy rate by some significant margin.
And that is a business desk report. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has denied funding the operations of the Ghana Gold Board. Dr. Johnson Isiama is governor of the Bank of Ghana.
So remember, Gold Board is just the PMMC as we used to have it. So it's our relationship to get, vis-a-vis the Gold Board. It's just like the relationship we had with PMMC. What we do is to ask Gold Board to purchase something for us. And then that something is exported. When it's exported, we receive the US dollar. So it's not as though we are funding them. It is a service they are producing for us. And come to think of it, we take money from the commercial banks, right? From the commercial banks. And that is exactly what we pass on to the Gold Board, which they use to, acquire the Dory gold. It is exported. We take custody of the FX, and then the same FX is intermediated.
Let's though stay on the monetary policy rate cut because the Minister of Finance, Dr. Atuforsen, has described the Bank of Ghana's latest monetary policy rate cut as a major milestone in Ghana's economic recovery following the reduction in the rate. Now, he also says that he noted that the Bank of Ghana's monetary policy easing continues, referencing the sustained drop in inflation, which now stands at 8% as of October this year, a sharp drop from 27% that is in November last year. The Minister of Finance has explained that the new rate represents some 350 basis point cut in the move that he believes will boost lending and ease credit pressure on businesses in the country. Now, businesses from next year will start paying 20% as the effective VAT rate. They will also not be paying the controversial COVID-19 levy. Now, this will be enjoying other tax reliefs as well. Now, this was after Parliament today passed the VAT Bill 2020. Let's hear from the Commissioner General, who says that they are poised to implement this from January 1.
We are hoping and expecting that we will get parliamentary approval before they rise for the Christmas season, sent to 8. Expect that the implementation. But we will be working with the business community and start engaging to make sure that we plan well and give sufficient time to ensure that those who have to reset their systems are reset and to ensure that they also get ready for the implementation. So we'll be coming back to you, but the overall plan is to try and get the act passed before the end of the year, and then we can plan for full implementation from January 26.
And that is the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Kwesisapon, explaining earlier at a program in Accra that they are poised to start implementing the revised taxes and the VAT bill that was passed by Parliament today. And that's all for business on News Night.
George, thank you very much. We're now waiting to see how this all pans out in terms of its impact on our pockets when we go to borrow. And we'll be talking pretty shortly with the Banking Association. And Kofi joins me with more on this very big day when it comes to the policy rate and its impact. And Kofi, you guys have been tracking a bit more of the historicals on this because this falls within the bigger picture, does it not? Let's track back. How many rate cuts this year? And what is the magnitude as far as the BOG policy rate is concerned?
So, in fact, this year we've seen 3 big rate cuts, and they've all been around 300 basis points. So, for the first time, this governor inherited 27% monetary policy rate in January, maintained it that month, and in March, hiked it by 100 basis points to 28%, and then maintained it in May to so that 28%. And in July, that was when we saw our first rate cut, 300 basis points from 28% to 25%. And another big one to, about 350 basis points to 21.5% in September. And we are seeing the same rate cut, 350 basis points to 18% in November. So since the beginning of the year, we can say that 1,000 basis points in rate cut. This is very significant.
Indeed, and we understand there still exists significant difference between the 3 important rates, inflation, policy rate, and lending rate. That's critical for everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why we all are excited about this, because of how eventually it affects your pocket.
So the expectation is that these 3 rates, you're supposed to see not that significant difference, right? But whilst you still have inflation being around 8%, the policy rate currently is around 18%, and you have the average lending rate, which is still above 20%. And so the big question is, will the commercial banks follow as the rate cut comes to, the current monetary policy rate comes to 18%? Are we likely to see a big cut in terms of the average lending rate and even the Ghana reference rate, somewhere maybe next month?
Okay, and that's a big question. Big question indeed for banks, because it's only when the banks cut their rates that then George can go and get some loan at a cheaper rate, can buy his next car that I know he's dreaming about. Guess what? I may have some answers for you. Johnny Wa is the CEO of the Ghana Association of Banks, joins us right now on the line. Mr. Wa, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. So you have a big rate cut today. When are we going to see this reflected in the interest rates at the banks?
Thank you very much. Latest by the first Wednesday of December, we'll be publishing the new Ghana reference rate, and you'll see the full force of the reduction in the policy rate that we've seen today, 350 basis points, reflected in the new Ghana reference rate, which will be published in the first Wednesday in December.
So that is a good timeline, and I know George is already writing that. He's planning to come to one of your banks and take a loan there. But here's the thing. How steep will the lending rate fall? Give us a sense.
I believe there will be a significant reduction from what we've seen in the past. Whenever the policy rate comes down that aggressively, we saw the 300 basis points, which resulted in the Ghana reference rate also coming down all the way to 17.86. With this significant reduction, I'm thinking that another 200 to 250 basis points reduction in the Ghana reference rate to be recorded.
Recall the last time I hosted you, you actually made the point that already the average lending rate is now around 19%, correct?
That is correct. You see, what the governor said, the governor talked about a reduction in the lending rate from 30% to, did he say 20 or 21? And from the data that we have picked, from new loans that are being sanctioned, yes, we are getting rates around 20%, 19%. Actually, a lot of the banks, given the wide disparity we had between the policy rate and the other market rates, we recorded a few of the banks or some of the banks lending below the policy rate as existed before this reduction.
So that's where we have it. So if the 19 was what you had as an average before this big rate, are we overstating it if we say we can expect it to the average, to drop to 15, or that would be too steep?
It's an interplay of three different rates. So the fact that one has gone down by 350 basis points does not mean that the Ghana reference rate will definitely go down by 350 basis points. It depends on the general movement over the period in the two other rates, which is the 91-day benchmark and the interbank rate. But ordinarily, once the policy rate moves, the interbank rate moves directly in tandem with the policy rate. So we believe that a significant weight will go on the other side of the reduction, which means we are likely going to record maybe somewhere around 300 basis points reduction in the policy rate, in the Ghana reference.
Okay, and thank you. So for the average Mokala woman who has been running away, the average farmer who has been running away from coming to the banks and is afraid because it's going to cost him too much to get credit, your assurance to him is that by the first Wednesday of December they can expect the rates to go down.
Most definitely. And if you have been monitoring the media space, you heard that a lot of the banks are advertising, asking customers to come. Banks are saying they have reduced their lending rates, asking customers to come. So the verdict is already out there. Banks have already gone to town making advertisements.
Thank you very, very much. And that's how this affects you, as you heard him there, take on the banks. And we're going to be monitoring to see if indeed it's reflecting in your pocket when you go to the banks to borrow. Let's do sports now.
It was Asante Kotoko this after the late defeat to Basaka Holy Stars in their final outstanding Ghana Premier League game earlier today. Kotoko had a chance to move top of the league with a win, but they failed to do so. They now stand in 4th place of the Ghana Premier League table, just 3 points behind leaders Indiana Stars. Their head coach, Abdul Karim Zito, spoke after the game.
So we should have won this game. Seriously, we should have won this game. Once again, we squandered the chances. And you took your chances. So, to me, we shouldn't have lost this game, but it's part of the game. So, we all want to win the league. It's not only Kotoko. If the way you play here, if the way you are playing every club, there wouldn't be last. So, Kotoko, everybody wants to beat Kotoko. That is the magnetic of the issue. But we didn't play badly. We played good football, and we created chances. But putting the ball into the net was another, once again, the problem. But so far, so good. We are playing the league.
You heard Asante Kotoko head coach Abdul Karim Zito speaking there. The Champions League continues later tonight.
Delicious match.
Big one is
prospect.
Arsenal against Bayern Munich at the Emirates Stadium. We have
It's first against second, right?
Yeah.
All of them on the same points.
Yeah, best attack against best.
Goodness me. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much there. Now, the impact of illegal mining has opened the door to ruthless exploitation in the central region, where a gallon of borehole water now costs as high as 5 Ghana cedis. The water scarcity deepening after the pollution of the Yingsu and Pra rivers. Water has become a commodity controlled by private sellers. Okada riders now double as water couriers, charging desperate households for every gallon they can find. Emmanuel Jivenu has more in today's episode of Dear Mahama # Stop Galamsey.
Emmanuel Ejri is an Okada rider in Kwenyako. He no longer carries passengers. The towers at Kwenyako have been dry since the Yinsu River died under the weight of Galamsey pollution. And a new business, water exploitation.
My customer called me for water, so I came to fetch from this borehole. We motorbike riders charge 5 cedis per gallon, but if the person is my regular customer, I may reduce it and take 10 cedis for 3 gallons.
The Ayensu River, which feeds the Kwenyako treatment plant, is now thick, brown, and unsafe. And in the absence of clean water, exploitation slipped in quietly. Families with nothing are forced to spend the little they have.
Illegal miners are polluting the Ayensu River upstream. This is the problem the activities are causing for us downstream.
In Yakron, Jonas, a tricycle rider, has become a water courier.
If the customer brings their own gallons, I charge less. I only accept it when it's 10 to 15 gallons. That's the only way I can make money. We tricycle owners are even considering increasing our charges because this is our peak season.
Families struggle just to get water, often unsafe. Some walk miles for borehole. Others give up and return to the polluted river that caused the shutdown of the Kwenyako treatment plant. The science is simple. When the river dies, the treatment plant dies. When the treatment plant dies, the community becomes desperate. And in desperation, exploitation thrives.
It's alleged that government officials are involved in this illegal mining. We hear about it on the radio. Even the chiefs, no one can mine on their land without their approval. We are pleading with the government to help stop the illegal mining.
Dear Mahama, water has become a luxury in the central region, and families are paying the price because they have no other choice. The crisis created by Galamsey has become a marketplace for survival, where a few profit while entire communities drown in water poverty. The people of Kwenyako, Nyakrum, and Setrehiman are not asking for much, just the right to drink clean water without being exploited for it. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Central Region.
Well, a horrifying tragedy unfolded at a Dansoman market as a fierce blaze tore through the area, reducing more than 80 shops to ashes and plunging the community into grief. Now, the inferno not only wiped out livelihoods, but also claimed the life of an 8-year-old girl. Now, speaking to Joy News, the Deputy Greater Accra NADMO Director, Nana Eduabwa, confirmed that the police have taken custody of the child remains as security services begin investigations into the cause of the fire. My colleague Collins has more in this report.
The dawn fire ravaged the Dansoman markets, destroying dozens of stores and claiming the life of an 8-year-old child. The victim, Priscilla, is reported to have been left in her mother's shop when the fire started.
The child actually, as I asked him, mom said he locked in for the shop inside. She went out to go and buy something. So before she came, there's a fire on here. So you can't enter the fire and go and save the kid. So it's about 8 years girl. It's a little girl. So this is a place where the burn. So actually here now, the place where I went in the back. That's the place.
At daybreak, community leaders and firefighters were at the scene to assess the damage. Member of Parliament for Ablikuma West and other government officials met with the grieving family.
Then also be did okuno so Priscilla this kind of card okuno be don say mami me did okunu mokuno so that ton kwan wa happen na me de me yan gari na me fending kwan no see you na me ben ko to pe okuno ba ye no ton kwan ba so no board ni dia no on dey ni dia na me so na Priscilla and they enter me over na so committee me dem we da when you come che go school and na me ko pay and if you on for wadam for man kran.
Very heartbreaking indeed, and our thoughts go to that particular woman and the rest of the family. Their condolences to them. Strong and sassy, and Animwa is here. Pretty heartbreaking story.
Hi, Evans.
Indeed.
Yes, absolutely. The loss of anyone for any reason is difficult, but I mean, an 8-year-old child hits especially hard.
Yeah, I know your mom.
It?
That will touch you in
all places. May her soul rest in peace, and we pray for comfort for her family.
What are you treating tonight on Strong and Sassy?
Yesterday was International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And you know that we kind of try to talk about it every year. It's interesting, though, a few weeks ago, there was the story of the woman who was being beaten by her husband and all sorts of things. And, you know, we kind of hope that it gets better, and then you hear some stories and then you realize that in some ways it's not getting better. So tonight we want to talk about suffering in silence, you know, women who are suffering in silence, and perhaps coax them out of their shells and direct them to the right places, and also really just focus on why women don't leave abusive relationships. That's what we're talking about. So stay tuned in. Strong and Sassy coming up next.
Good question.